Now, our speaker, Bill Atchison, is an expert in nonverbal communication skills. Since 1985, he has taught communication at the University of Pittsburgh. As an in-demand speaker, he uses his knowledge of nonverbal communication, also known as body language, to teach professionals how to project themselves with greater impact and understand people at an even higher level. Bill has worked with dozens of organizations on 4 different continents, including 3M, American Express, Bank of America, the U.S. Coast Guard, the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, and Tommy Hilfiger. Here today to share his best ideas for understanding and harnessing the power of body language, please join me in welcoming Bill Atchison. Welcome, Bill.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bill Atchison. I am coming to you, and I've got a choice. We could do it quietly, or we can go for energy. Always energy, so let's do it. I'm going to share with you a set of skills so powerful, you will use them before you leave this room. Nonverbal communication, body language, the management of time, space, appearance, posture, gesture, voice, eye contact, facial expression, breathing, touch, smell. Is smell important in your professional life? Bank on it. We interview 600 professional women. Our question in a business setting, how do you know when a man cheats on his wife? Top 7 answers, nonverbal communication. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to share with you the top 2. Are you ready? 74% of our female respondents. Smell. I do not trust a man who wears too much cologne or aftershave. You're seen as untrustworthy. Number 2, and I apologize because I guarantee in an audience this big, several of you guys are going down in flames on this one. I do not trust a man who wears. Hang on just a second. Let's take a deeper look at this. I'm about to share with you some information. I'll tell you what, I want to put my work into perspective, so bear with me. Don't get nervous. 71% of our female respondents, age-related bias. Older the woman, more likely she is to agree. East Coast bias. Closer to the coast, more likely she is to agree. I do not trust a man who wears pinky rings. Do not trust a man who wears pinky rings. All right? If you're putting that bad boy in your pocket up there, you just hold on a second. If you're wearing a pinky ring, am I saying you cheat on your wife? No. You're thinking about it, dude. Let's put my work into perspective. Nonverbal communication. I'm talking about body language. Now, if I were to ask you, do you deal with reality? You'd almost certainly say yes. Ladies and gentlemen, take a moment to pause. You do not. You see, each and every one of us, we'd like to think we deal with reality, but in fact, we deal with our individual perception of reality. If you're wearing a pinky ring, I am not saying you cheat on your wife. I am saying in a reasonable study conducted nationally that 7 in 10 adult professional women see a trust issue from someone who wears a pinky ring. We do further surveys and we find that 97% of women agree with the following statement. I do not trust a man who wears more jewelry than I do. That's a gimme. We are going to look at your presentation of self, okay? I come with several warnings. Number 1, this is super learning. It's going to be fast. Number 2, we are looking at edu-comedy. If you think it's funny, laugh madly. If you don't think it's funny, there's something fundamentally wrong with you. And number 3, we are looking at a bit of information that will mess with your head. I'll make you this guarantee. 1 hour with me and you will not be comfortable with another human being for days. Ladies, let's separate you from the men. We're going to make this big distinction right now. Now, when we test, we're going to find women in terms of body language. Women are more accurate and better than men at sending signals, at receiving signals, at interpreting signals. However, they're only on average 2% better. That is not my real-life experience. My real-life experience is that women are substantially better at reading body movement and accurately assigning message value. We go into the workplace. We go into social situations. We're going to find a woman is 4 times more likely to see body movement in a face-to-face communication and accurately assign message value. We're going to look at one behavior to begin this talk, and we're going to analyze it in depth. Gentlemen, you are about to enter the world of female logic. It is not a pretty place. Hand to chin behavior, good listening behavior or not? What do you think? You're engaged in it. One of my audience members right here. If your hand is touching your chin, if your prospect is sitting across from you like this, if you've got a meeting where 3 people are sitting holding their chin, is that a good listening behavior? Or would you say it's not? Good. We go into libraries in the Big Ten, in law, engineering, and medicine. What we'll discover is that 71% of graduate students reading for depth touch their mandible while reading. Hand touching to the chin, to that mandible, activates the oligodendroglia, the smallest connecting neuron tissue in the brain. Translation, this is a good listening behavior. However, when I stand on stage and I share this information with audiences, the women tend to look at me, as you are, with cynicism. The head's tilted, the lips are compressed a little bit. I'll show you a good look at cynicism in a moment. Now, why are so many women seeing this as a negative listening behavior? I begin to interview, and last year I conducted 100 interviews of professional women. Here are my results. 58 out of 100 see this as a negative listening behavior. In fact, it isn't. But you know what? If I make a slight shift, it becomes negative. What have I done? Ladies and gentlemen, I am chin propping. Let me translate. If you and I are engaged in a conversation and I feel compelled to hold my head up with my thumb, in order to listen, how successful are you as a communicator? You're not doing real well. Unobtrusive chin propping occurs when the thumb is under the chin and concealed. The more obvious chin propping is really quite negative. And that is not the primary reason that women see this behavior as negative. Watch closely. This is what distinguishes the women from the men in terms of assessing body language. I'm listening to you during the conversation. You're rather intriguing. But at some point during your talk, my finger moves up over my lips. Did I change my signal? Do I send a different message? How about 2 fingers? How about the more transparent 10? See what's happening? What we're going to do is this. We're going to look at the notion that every feeling, intention, and thought, and if you're taking notes, congratulations. You are perceived as 14 IQ points more intelligent if you take notes in front of someone than if you're not taking notes. Should you have picked up a pen and paper while I was saying that? You're good for 7 points. Hand to chin behavior. If that finger moves into the central region of the face, what has just happened? Let me illustrate for you. On the part of a listener, a hand to the central part of the face, particularly covering the lips, 80% accurate as a single indicator of cynicism. I'll translate. I don't believe what you're saying. So hand to the central part of the face by a listener, that's rather negative. Hand to the central part of the face by a speaker. What if someone speaks and touches their face? It's going to be seen as lack of confidence. Let me give you a feel for how this is going to work. You asked me for a favor in the workplace. I don't owe you anything, but you've asked me to really spend some time working on a project where I'll get no credit whatsoever. You asked me for a commitment to come in on Saturday morning to begin the work. And I look you in the eyes and I say, you know what? I'll be there. I'm stroking my nose, folks. I am not coming. Nose stroking is an extremely rare but remarkably accurate indication of deception. On the part of a speaker, when someone consciously strokes the nose, that is our 2000 equivalent of twirling the mustache. Nose stroking, we're going to see, is 85 to 90% accurate as an indication of deception. How about this one? It's more subtle, but it still sends a pretty loud message. You say, Bill, can you come in on Saturday morning and get to work with me? And I look you right in the eyes and say, you know what? I'll do it. I'm even head nodding to confuse you, but I'm self-editing. I'm talking through my hand. Translation, I don't believe what I'm saying. So how should you? 65 to 70% likelihood of a lie. 2/3 accurate as an indication of deception. You can even feel me pulling away when I speak through my hand. You know what? How about this one? I look at you and I say, you know what? I'll step up to the plate for you. Fingers pointed upward. We're going to see that as wishful thinking. And statistically, I'm looking at 50-50. A 50% likelihood of a lie when the fingers are vertical. Amazing. You've got a goatee. Gentlemen over here with a beard. If you have a beard or a goatee, gentlemen, you are 2 times more likely to touch your face while listening. You've got some gray in that goatee. That is associated with wisdom. It's terrific for you. However, you're also 2 times more likely to touch your face If you have a beard or a goatee, you're 2 times more likely to touch your face while speaking. That's where it works against you. Women with facial hair, we see no statistical difference. I try to cover both sides of the street. Realize what's happening here. This is incredible stuff. I'm about to rock your world. Now, I'm not going to tell you anything you don't know, but at a deeply subconscious level. When we look at communication research, we typically look at 2 levels of awareness. The first is called practical awareness. That means I do the right stuff in a social setting or in a business setting. I don't really even think about what the rules are. You know, we don't even realize that there are so many cultural rules regarding our behavior. But all of our behavior is governed by rules. You know these rules exist when you see a rule violation. When you catch a rule violation, you can pick it out right away. And so what we're going to do is we're going to raise your awareness level to the higher level of awareness, and that is called discursive awareness. With discursive awareness, what I'm looking at is the notion that I not only have awareness of what to do at a practical level, subconsciously, I can discourse about it. I can talk about it. Very often I'll say to my classes at the university, what are some rules that you should adhere to on a first date? You have no idea how amazing their perceptions can be. But we know, because in a class of 30, I'll easily get 60 rules that should be observed on a first date. Those rules are out there. Until you're tweaked, you don't really think about it. We're going to look at the business world. We're going to look at the simple act of meeting another individual. You see, when you and I meet for the first time, nonverbal communication or body language is 10 times more powerful than what you say. Let's go there. You and I meet for the first time. The rules are different for men and women, so pay attention. You want to get this right. In fact, not only are the rules different, the rules are precisely the opposite.